Right, so that's beautiful. Now, what do? You just get, whilst that's just melting out there, oh my Lord, you flame this in kirsch. Go, baby. Right, so that's flaming in kirsch. That's good. Now,
I spent the afternoon cooking with the legendary chef Graham Kerr. For decades, he was known worldwide as the Galloping Gourmet, a man whose energy, charm, and daring made him the most recognized chef on television. But behind the laughter, the butter, and the wine lay a life filled with struggle, resilience, and transformation. The Galloping Gourmet reached audiences across 20 million households. In the 1970s, Graham Kerr earned over $1 million a year. On the surface, it was a life of glamour, but beneath it, a darker story unfolded. A devastating car crash, financial struggles, and personal loss would eventually force him to step away from fame and reinvent himself entirely. Graham Kerr was born on January 26, 1934, in Brondesbury, a neighborhood in North London still recovering from the shadows of the Great Depression. The streets were quiet, shops sparsely stocked, and families learned to stretch every crumb. His parents, Scottish Presbyterians who ran hotels, instilled in him lessons that would shape his life: discipline, precision, and respect for food. From an early age, Graham was immersed in the kitchen. He watched his parents turn simple ingredients into meals and learned the rhythm of hospitality. Meals were not just about feeding people. They were about care, service, and attention to detail. His mother, running the kitchen with the precision of a conductor, taught him that every movement, every order, and every dish mattered. At 6, curiosity pulled Graham into the family kitchen. Standing on a wooden box, he attempted puff pastry for the first time. It was a disaster. The pastry was stone-like and inedible. A hotel chef told him he lacked pastry hands, yet Graham persisted. That first failure ignited a spark. He learned early that mistakes were merely the beginning of mastery, not the end. School also played a vital role in shaping Graham's creativity. At Michael Hall School in Forest Row, a Rudolf Steiner school, he was encouraged to experiment, imagine, and express himself. Wartime rationing forced students to make do with limited ingredients, a challenge that taught Graham resourcefulness and innovation. Here, he also met Trina Van Dorn, who would become his wife and lifelong partner, nurturing both his personal and professional journey. By 14, Graham enrolled at Brighton and South Devon Technical College, focusing on practical culinary skills. He mastered classic techniques like sauce reductions and clarified butter, even amid rationing. These skills, honed in small kitchens with minimal tools, would later make his television recipes feel magical and accessible to millions. Teenage years were spent in his parents' hotel kitchens. At 15, he became a trainee manager at the Roebuck Hotel in East Sussex, learning how to transform scarcity into comforting meals. By 18, Graham had absorbed lessons in hospitality, discipline, and pride in one's work, values that would quietly underpin his television career. In 1952, he joined the British Army's Catering Corps. Tasked with feeding thousands of soldiers, he learned to improvise, create morale-boosting meals from canned goods, and make even the simplest dishes feel satisfying. During NATO exercises in Germany, he designed menus that reduced waste and improved nutrition, earning recognition from senior officers. He experimented with local ingredients like sauerkraut, smoked sausage, and mushrooms, creating hearty stews that soldiers loved. Leading cooking demonstrations for recruits honed another skill: communication. Graham's humor, energy, and clarity drew crowds of 100 or more years before television would discover him. Preparing massive events, like feeding 10,000 guests over 3 days at Royal Ascot, taught him how to handle immense pressure. Preparation, timing, and attention to detail became second. Nature. In 1958, Graham moved to New Zealand, stepping into a role that allowed him to reshape military dining for hundreds of service members. British culinary traditions met Pacific flavors: taro, kamara, coconut milk, and Graham embraced creativity over conformity. His efforts met initial resistance, but he persisted, believing food should reflect culture, enjoyment, and innovation. Meanwhile, his partnership with Trina Van Dorn deepened. Married in 1955, Trina's vision and insight shaped his career in ways few realized. She encouraged boldness, taught him about stage presence, and helped him translate culinary skill into entertainment. Their marriage lasted nearly 6 decades, a testament to collaboration, love, and shared purpose. Graham's television debut came in 1959 with a short broadcast, Eggs with Flight Lieutenant Kerr. Wearing his Air Force uniform, he demonstrated poached eggs with humor and flair. The show was brief, only 15 minutes, but it made him New Zealand's first celebrity chef. His one-handed egg crack became an iconic signature, reflecting both his skill and charisma. Television fame exploded in the 1960s. His early shows were characterized by live cooking, bold humor, and a liberal use of butter and wine. Critics often disapproved, yet audiences loved the energy, unpredictability, and charm Graham brought to the kitchen. Wine tastings, playful double entendres, and physical comedy, like leaping over chairs, made him unforgettable. The nickname Galloping Gourmet was born almost by accident in 1964, perfectly capturing his exuberance. By 1968, his shows aired internationally, reaching millions and establishing him as a global culinary figure. Cookbooks, merchandise, and television appearances solidified his brand. His early cookbooks were unapologetically indulgent, featuring rich sauces, butter, and wine. Graham believed food should bring joy, creativity, and adventure. Yet fame came at a price. The grueling schedule, live broadcasts, and constant attention to detail took a toll. Behind the cameras, Graham's energy often collapsed, while Trina managed production and logistics tirelessly. Criticism from some quarters, religious groups, conservative viewers, and traditionalists challenged his flamboyance, yet paradoxically, it increased popularity. Disaster struck on April 27, 1971. A speeding vegetable truck collided with Graham and Trina's Winnebago on California's Highway 101. Graham suffered a dislocated spine, leaving his left side partially paralyzed. Trina endured broken bones and internal injuries. Months of rehabilitation followed. The accident ended the Galloping Gourmet era, despite 50 episodes ready for broadcast and millions of dollars on the line. Walking away meant financial loss, but it allowed them to reclaim life and health. Recovery sparked profound transformation. Traveling aboard their yacht, Trina, Graham, and his family witnessed lives of extreme simplicity. The experience reshaped priorities. Physical healing was vital, but so was spiritual and emotional renewal. In 1975, they embraced a new path, leaving behind flamboyant cooking, alcohol, and excess. Graham's philosophy shifted to health, service, and meaningful living. Returning briefly to television, he launched Take Kerr, featuring lighter meals and Christian-inspired values. His work earned recognition from health organizations, and he became a pioneer in heart-healthy cooking. By the 1990s, his Minimax method, reducing butter, substituting fruit purees, and emphasizing flavor, reached millions, improving viewers' nutrition and inspiring healthier habits. Graham's later years were marked by quiet, purposeful living. Following Trina's death in 2015, he retreated to Stanwood, Washington, dedicating himself to gardening, walking, prayer, and charity. His 1-acre garden produced over 30 varieties of vegetables, 70% of which were donated to local food banks. Even in his 90s, he remained active, co-hosting the podcast Tea At. 3. Focusing on sustainable living, vegetarian meals, and mindful resource sharing. Through organizations like Compassion International, he sponsored children's education and healthcare in Uganda. Serving on the board of the Christian Culinary Academy, he encouraged young chefs to cook with care, creativity, and compassion. His life demonstrated that culinary skill was never just about food. It was about heart, humanity, and legacy. Graham Kerr's journey from the Galloping Gourmet to a quiet, giving elder reflects resilience, reinvention, and the power of passion transformed by purpose. He taught the world to love food, laugh in the kitchen, and embrace life fully, leaving a mark that transcends television ratings and cookbooks. In 2025, at 91, he continues to inspire, proving that joy, generosity, and creativity are timeless ingredients, not just for cooking, but for living. From a child standing on a wooden box in a London kitchen to a global culinary icon and, finally, to a man of quiet wisdom, Graham Kerr's story reminds us that life's true flavor comes from persistence, love, and the courage to change.